Okay, for this fly, we're going to tie a Griffiths gnat. This is a fly that a lot of fly fishermen like to use. It imitates a nice cluster of midges and a good little dry fly in the wintertime and just a good little all-around fly. So here we go, a little Griffiths gnat. So this fly can be sometimes difficult to see because it is relatively small. This is a size 18 dry fly hook. So what I like to do, and what I'm going to do on this fly, is first we're going to get our base, get our thread on there and get our fly going. Get my thread on the hook and then bring my thread right up to the front here. And what I like to do on this fly is I like to tie a little parachute on there. And I'm going to use orange, and I'm going to tie in an orange parachute right up here in the head end of the fly. And the reason for this is sometimes in those low light conditions, this can really be a lifesaver for you so that you can actually see this fly. So I tie that, I'm going to tie my orange Antron yarn right up there in the head end of the fly. And wrap around the post a little bit. Now if you want to, a person can use a little bit of fly head cement here and help really fasten this post to the front of to the top of the hook so that it doesn't twist. I'm just going to try to build a base nice and tight on both sides of it. Generally that'll keep it from twisting pretty good for you. Okay, so I've got my little orange parachute post. Now my next step is I'm going to bring my thread to the back of the fly and I'm going to tie in a small piece of peacock, little peacock herl. So just one little strand of that, and that'll probably be more than enough for this fly. So I'm going to tie that in just like so. And at the same time, I'm going to tie in a little strand of grizzly hackle and tie that into the exact same spot that the peacock has been tied in. Once I get both of those fastened, then I'll just work my thread towards the front, helping to cover up those two materials, and then bring my thread right up to the eyelet. Okay, first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to wrap this peacock along the hook, just giving it a nice colorful base here. Get right up to that parachute, and then we'll transition to the front. Okay, once we get that peacock wrapped, and tie that off with just a couple of wraps here, and then we'll bring the grizzly hackle forward. Try to make your hackle wraps evenly spaced, just to give it a nice look, nice finished look as you're working towards the front of the fly. Looks like we can get one more wrap in the back here. And once we get that hackle up to the, oh, I lost my hackle. That was a mistake. Happens to the best of us, right? Okay, once we get that hackle up to the front, we're going to tie it off. Hopefully capture it this time. There we go, that looked a little better. Just going to peel some of that back, get a couple of wraps in here before I snip my hackle and my peacock. Okay, got a nice looking fly here. Gonna have a little bit of finish work to do, but now I'm going to whip finish the very front end. Being careful not to gather any of the hackle in my whip finish knot. So I'm going to try to pinch and pull all of that back. There we go. We can snip that. And the last thing we want to do here is we really don't need to have a parachute that's ½ an inch tall on this tiny little fly. So to try to keep it out of the way of the hackle, I like to try to pull it forward. Kind of work it back and forth a little bit, get it out of the way of the hackle. Once I've got it pulled forward, then I'm just going to snip it. About the length, or sometimes a little bit less, of the hackle. So that just helps with visibility. A tire does not have to do that, but I like to do that just so I can see this fly sometimes. So there you go, a Griffiths gnat. Maybe you would call it a high-vis Griffiths gnat.